This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, how there, ho there, it's Joe Cutastrophe. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. On this day, October 14th, 2015, the Toronto Blue Jays. Yes, you see the image. You see Jose Bautista with a backflip that sent the Blue Jays to the ALCS to face the Kansas City Royals. Well, this was a huge series for all to see. The Toronto Blue Jays had the longest postseason drought in the majors. After Pittsburgh made the playoffs, Toronto was next in line. They had been to the playoffs since 1993. And it was tough for Toronto fans to stomach because at the time the Leafs were not making the playoffs and the Raptors were kind of hit or miss. So sports teams in Toronto just didn't have all the breaks. However, in 2015 it was a magical season. It was a 50-51 start for the Toronto Blue Jays in 2015, but then they got red hot with two 11-game winning streaks, which tied the Blue Jays record for most wins in a row. The Blue Jays got some great deals. One deal that was proposed and obviously happened was David Price going from the Tigers to the Blue Jays for the want of a couple of prospects, including Daniel Norris. But the Blue Jays made a big splash before that, taking Troy Tulowitzki from the Colorado Rockies and just giving up a couple of relief pitchers that weren't working out. So the Blue Jays made some great moves. They had great third baseman Josh Donaldson, who they got from the A's before the 2015 season started. Russell Martin was getting used to being a Blue Jay and playing for a Canadian team. Edwin Encarnacion and Jose Bautista, both massive cast-offs, for helping the Blue Jays out and become respectful. You had Devin Travis, who was good at second base, but he was often injured, so his potential was ruined in a sense. And yet, B.J. Upton. I know you would say Melvin Upton, but I'm calling him B.J. Upton. The pitching staff wasn't that bad. Either R.A. Dickey, Aaron Sanchez, and Marcus Stroman, who surprised everyone by coming back from an injury to, get through and play for the 2015 Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays ended up winning the AL East. Not the Yankees, not the Red Sox. It was the Blue Jays. So anyhow, the Blue Jays would start their journey on a tough Thursday afternoon at the Rogers Center. They ended up losing 5-3 as David Price, who Toronto banked on, ended up losing as he couldn't take care of Texas and Giovanni Gallardo. Jose Bautista did hit a home run, but so did Rougned Odor. So anyway, that wasn't good. The Blue Jays then faced Texas in a massive 5-hour marathon, as the game went to the 14th inning with Texas scoring to make it 14 in the 14th, 2 runs to make it 6-4. So it was just not good and all that. Russ Orendorff got the save, and the Blue Jays were down 0-2. The contest was the second longest ALDS game in history, surpassed only by the 15-inning affair of the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, not the Toronto Blue Jays. 15-inning affair by the Seattle Mariners against the New York Yankees in that famous Game 2 in the ALDS 95. Of course, that mark was tied just recently as Cleveland beat Tampa 1-0 in Game 2 of the AL Wildcard Series. Oh, no, well, I guess it doesn't count as LDS, but whatever. So the Blue Jays were up against it on a Sunday night in Texas. The Blue Jays needed something. Marco Estrada, who was kind of underrated, came up and he pitched against Martin Perez. Blue Jays ended up winning the game 5-1 with 3 runs in the 6th inning. The Blue Jays forced a Game 4 in Texas and came out to a flying start, a 7-1 start off of Derek Holland, as David Price finally won a postseason game. because he was always bad luck. Well, playing for Tampa, you seem to always get bad luck. But then Game 5 happened. Anyway, the Blue Jays started it. Marcus Stroman was on the mound for the Blue Jays. Prince Fielder got an RBI single, and then Shin-Soo Choo made it 2-0. So the Rangers looked good. The Jays did get a RBI double by Jose Bautista to make it 2-2 in the third, and 2-1, in the third, and 2-2 in the sixth with Edwin's home run. But the seventh inning was laden with controversy. With Brunei Ador on third base and 2 outs, Russell Martin was going to throw the ball back to the mound. And somehow the ball hit Chu's bat and bounced towards third base, and Odor ran home to score a run. But the run was voided by home plate umpire Dale Scott. Unfortunately, after discussion, the umpires awarded a run to Texas, citing Rule 603A, that Chu was not intentionally interfering with the throw back to the pitcher. And since Chu was in the batter's box, interference could not be called, and it was called a live ball. The video review did confirm the rules check, but the game was delayed 18 minutes because the Blue Jay fans decided to toss beer cans and garbage onto the field. Not really the best fit for a Blue Jays organization. But the turning point came in the bottom of the seventh. All right, so the Blue Jays were down 3-2. No big deal. Got a few runs. The Rangers would falter. Elvis Andrus made a gigantic fielding error. Mitch Moreland tried to start a double play, but he threw the ball away. And then Andrus tried to throw the Dalton Pompey out at third base. And it was a perfect bunt that they could get the out, but they didn't get the out at third. Anyway, Ben Revere came up and hit the ball over Odor's head into center. Runs scored. They did get the out at second base. So that Cole Hamels, over 100 pitches, his day was done. It was now Sam Dyson's ball. So anyway, with runners on first and third and 2 outs, Jose Bautista comes up to the plate and smacks a 3-run home run off of Dyson into left center field, and the fans went nuts. Kenny Albert went nuts too on the Fox broadcast. He would flip his bat, as you can see in the picture, and before running the bases, and the fans were happy. But some said it was unsportsmanlike. I kind of get it. Unfortunately, the pitches were clear afterward after Edwin Encarnacion threw up his hands to the fans to discourage any more garbage being thrown on the field. Unfortunately, it was interpreted as Encarnacion showboating. Meanwhile, Dyson and Tulowitzki got in an argument after Dyson touched Tulowitzki in the buttocks after the third out, and the benches cleared once again. But there were no punches or ejections in that. Roberto Osuna would come into the game and made a 5-out save, making him the youngest pitcher in AL history to get a postseason save. So it was huge. I can't believe that. Dumb luck. I mean, yeah, Encarnacion may have been pumping up the fans, as the hand signal said, but he was trying to calm things down. This was the third time in Division Series history that a team was down 0-2 and came back to win the next 3 in the best of 5. The other teams, the 95 Mariners, who did it to the Yankees, and the 2012 Giants, who did it to the Reds. And this was the first time in 11 years that a Big 4 team in Toronto won a postseason round since the Leafs in 2004. There was a lot of bad blood between Toronto and Texas. Let's not forget about Rudy Odor's punch to Jose Bautista and all that. They were both rejected. There were other rejections and suspensions. However, the Blue Jays would get their own back as they swept Texas, who were widely considered the best team in the American League. Obviously, with Texas being the 1 seed and Toronto having to win the wild card game against Baltimore, to get in. But it was a 3-game sweep. Texas just couldn't believe their luck. The Blue Jays in those 2 series, 2015-2016, went 4-0 at Arlington. Kind of weird, don't you think? Anyway, yeah, the 2015 Blue Jays would then face Kansas City and should have went to the World Series. But a couple of terrible choke jobs, especially Game 2 for David Price, cost the Blue Jays that they lost in 6 games to the Royals. If it was a Game 7, I think the Jays would have taken it. And it would have been ironic because the Blue Jays were down 3-1, and they could have done to Kansas City what the Royals did to the Jays in the 1985 ALCS. Come back from 3-1 down. But we'll never know. So that's just pure bollocks. But yeah, it's just amazing how things could go for Toronto. And of course, as of this taping, the Blue Jays are out of the postseason because of a 7-run choke job. Ouch. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond.